What's going on, guys? Welcome to Richie's Picks. I'm Richie Rax. We're headed into week 2 of football season, and I'm here to give you all the advice you need to succeed in your fantasy football tournaments, okay? The first segment we're going to do is quarterbacks. Now, it's already Thursday, so I'm not going to be doing the Thursday night game. That means no Alex Smith and no Peyton Manning, all right? So, excluding them, let's get into it. We're going to be doing three separate picks, all right? Three picks that I really like. We're going to be talking about a prime play, okay? We're going to be talking about a value play, and we're going to be talking about an in-between, something that's going to give you the best of both worlds, try to be a pretty safe play while also bringing some value to the table. All right, now let's start off with the in-between. This week, I like Carson Palmer, man. $6,700 on Draftkings, okay? He's going up a Chicago defense that isn't great. They gave up 322 yards to Aaron Rodgers. That's with them missing their number one option in Jordy Nelson, obviously out for this season. Randall Cobb was questionable coming into the game. And I mean, Palmer was on fire last week, baby. 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions at home against New Orleans. He got you a solid 28.7 fantasy points. Okay, so you were happy if you started him last week. Now this week they're missing Ellington. Okay, their lead back. So there's a big question mark there as to how they're going to use Chris Johnson out of the backfield. I'm looking for a pass-heavy attack, man, against a Chicago team that tends to be weak against the pass. This week I'm liking Carson Palmer for $6,700. All right. Now, as far as a value play goes, this week, man, Nick Foles at $5,500 on DraftKings. Okay, he had 297 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions against a tough Seattle defense last week. He had 21 fantasy points. That's despite having 2 fumbles. All right, passed the ball, spread the ball around to 6 different receivers. They were missing Todd Gurley and Trey Mason, okay? And both of them might come back this week. But this is one of those situations where it's like, getting the running back back into action might actually help them. Because now a team doesn't have to just plan their scheme around just shutting down the pass game. So it could actually be one of those things where it benefits the quarterback and it's going to open up some more plays for him. So at $5,500, Nick Foles, would definitely give you a little bit of wiggle room to splurge on a couple high-end players, a high-end wide receiver or a high-end running back. And they're going up against a Washington defense that was 32nd in the pass game last year, all right? They're terrible against the pass. They still are. Now, they didn't do a terrible job last week against Tannehill. They held him to 226 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But, nothing leads me to believe that this is a team that I should shy away from in the pass game. So for $5,500, man, I'm liking Nick Foles. I got him in a few of my lineups, paired up with a couple of high-end running backs and wide receivers due to that price tag. All right. Now, my prime play this week, man, I don't think you can go wrong with Drew Brees for $7,800. All right, he's coming off a 30 for 48, 355 yard, 1 touchdown, 1 interception game against a tough Cardinals secondary led by Patrick Peterson. Okay, this was on the road. Now we're going back to the Superdome. All right, and we all know Drew Brees plays better in the Superdome. It's just a fact. He does better there, and they're going up against a matchup you just gotta love. It's Tampa Bay, and we saw what happened to them last week, man. They got absolutely just chopped and screwed by Marcus Mariota in his rookie debut. He dropped 209 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. This Tampa Bay defense is looking sorry, man. And I think that Drew Brees is definitely going to exploit them. An interesting thing, he had 13 of his 30 completed passes were to his backs. All right, so the whole offense is working through him. He's checking down a lot and hitting his backs, and 149 yards off of that. So I'm definitely looking to exploit that and pair Drew Brees up with a Mark Ingram or a Kyrie Robinson, who's going for like $3,300. Mark Ingram's going for like $5,400. Definitely going to want to pair him up. I think Brandon Cooks is going to bounce back from a subpar performance last week, and he might just go off on this Tampa Bay defense. So I'm loving Drew Brees this week. You're going to have to spend $7,800 for him on DraftKings, but like I said, there's plenty of options to pair him up with. That it could be like a 2-for-1 where he's throwing a touchdown and the touchdown is going to someone else that you got on your team too, a Kyrie Robinson or a Mark Ingram. So I'm loving that matchup there. A couple interesting things to just watch out for. Flacco for $6,400. Going up against an Oakland defense that's just given up 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions to Andy Dalton last week. Flacco obviously had a terrible game last week against a tough Denver Broncos defense. I don't think that's going to happen every week. The long ball wasn't there for him. He targeted Steve Smith 7 times, only connected twice. And he also targeted Justin Forsett 7 times. So this is another situation where the entire offense is kind of working through the pass game. I'm looking for Flacco to, have a bounce back week as well. Another interesting play, something to follow. If McCown sits, Johnny Football, man, Johnny Manziel, he's going for $5,200. He didn't even play a whole game. He was 13 for 24, 182 yards and a touchdown. He did have an interception and 2 fumbles, but he had 5 rushes for 35 yards as well against the Jets. This week he's going up against Tennessee. Is it a safe play? No, not really. But if you want to roll the dice and give yourself a little bit of extra money to spend on a high-end wide receiver one that's going to cost you $8,800 like an Antonio Brown, you never know. And also the benefit of plays like that is that, nobody else is doing it, maybe less than 1% of the population. And it's kind of like, okay, cool, yeah, Drew Brees is definitely going to put up some numbers for you this week, but if everybody's got Drew Brees, it's almost like everybody getting 0. As to where if Johnny Manziel has a decent game, nobody else has Manziel, so he puts up a decent amount of points for you, and you were also able to spend that money on other players, right? You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, those are some things to watch, but you got my 3 picks this week. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing this every single week. I got videos coming up for wide receivers and tight ends and running backs as well. Those are going to be up here pretty soon. All right, guys, this has been Richie's Picks. I'm Richie Racks. Best of luck to y'all. Bring that money home, baby.